Hi. I get into the music of that countdown and then I realize, we're going live.
We're going to keep dancing and forget that we're going live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third last talk. I can't believe it's been so many talks already. I've actually lost count of how many we've done, but I think we've done a lot.
It kind of feels like we've been doing this forever.
Yeah, and we'll just carry on doing it every week. So everyone, well, we may, you never know. We may do more talks after this. So everyone stay tuned.
Yeah.
Cool.
Indeed.
Okay, so to start with, if you haven't watched, I'm Claire Ems, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Conscious Parenting Association South Africa. And a little bit about our association is actually that we have a whole group of people that we call our founding members that started with us, that they helped us, how do you say it? Sorry, develop it, grow it, start it.
Yeah,
launch it.
It all happened it happened so quickly. You know, we just kind of all came together, and then this all just flourished. It's been amazing. So
amazingly, and each of them come with their own amazing skills and talents and businesses that they're all running on their own. And I just wanted to take a moment to sort of punt all of them, thank them all for their hard work in the association, and then punt them because they deserve it. Yeah. They're good at what they do. And they're there to support, that's the aim. We're there to support the parents of South Africa because we believe in this work so strongly. So look at our website. You'll see all of our different members and what we do and why we do it.
Yeah. The CPSA.
And Jess, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we're not a company ourselves. We are an association that brings together a host of different professionals, individuals who work with parents, who work with children, and in teaching, and all of these things that help people learn about themselves, about their children, and really how to be more conscious and mindful. These services are available. I think that's really what we're trying to get out there, is that we've struggled. We know what it's like to struggle with, ourselves and our own emotions and our kids and all of that. And then you find these tools and it's like, wow, okay, cool. I've got support. This stuff is available. And I think a lot of people don't know that. I think my parents still don't know that. I keep trying to tell them what we do. And they're like, what do you mean, a parent coach? What is this? Like, you have kids, you carry on. But it is, these people are offering these wonderful services to help everyone, and that's all we want to do. So it's not necessarily to solve problems. It's not just to stop tantrums. It's not just to get perfect obedience from children, or to be the perfect person. It's really about support and having a community of people who are like-minded, and where you can find any individual that really speaks to you, because it's really hard. I know when I was looking for a counselor a couple of years ago, I'd been through a trauma and I was looking for someone, and it was really hard to find someone. And I'm really, really open about mental health and keeping your mental health as a top priority. And it was hard to keep asking, like, where do I go? Where do I go? I need to find someone. And I just think, for some people where there's still that stigma of, asking for help, it must be just, you'd stop asking eventually. Yeah. So you don't need to ask. Go to our website. No one needs to know. And there's a whole bunch of professionals who are there waiting to help you.
Yeah, and it's more than just parenting. And you'll see it with today's talk. It's about becoming conscious of your children, so understanding their reasons for their behavior, but then becoming conscious of yourself and your reasons for your behavior and your reasons for your emotions and just the way that your mind works. And that to me was the biggest change for me, is my change in my mind has changed my life. Like I say it all the time, but
I think, also it's really important. This talk that we're having today is really important. I'm sure everyone's heard that saying, in an airplane, you've always got to put your own mask on first. And I think this is going to really lead into that. This is about, just how you are at the center of the rest of your life. And so I'm really, really excited to hear what everyone has to say today. So with that,
and I just wanted to mention as well
not with that.
Like, first I can ask everyone, what comes to mind when you hear the word self-care? You can tell us in the comments. Most people, Jess, what comes to mind when you hear self-care?
Well, the first thing is an image of someone lying with hot stones on their back.
Yeah, that's usually what people think. So we do have a sorbet voucher. Oh, I've got to get straight there. Oh, there we go. We have 1,000 Rand sorbet voucher going to someone who's watching today. So one of you watching, I can see there's some people watching live. One of you is going to get it, but you need to tell us why you deserve to win it, because we want everyone to win it, but obviously we've only got one prize. So we want it to go to somebody who's going to use it.
I can only see the comments. I can't see who's watching. So I need you to comment for me to know that you're watching and why you want to
Yeah,
win.
tell us why you want it. My brother even said, ooh. So there we go. You can also have it, brother, if you're watching. Okay, cool. And then to announce our winner from last week who won a prize. I forgot about that. It was a very deserving person because I could hear that this stuff is going to help her. So Teresa Farley, well done. You've won our prize and we'll be sending you the info later today.
Yep.
Thanks.
And then that's it, eh?
And that's it. That's all the admin side of it.
Cool.
And without further ado, we can bring our two wonderful guest speakers on who you've both met, or who you've all met, both. Yeah. Both of us have met them as well,
Okay, else. Let me be off and then and we'll see you a bit later. Enjoy your chat.
Thanks, Jess. Hi, guys.
Hello. Good morning.
It's so lovely to have you both back on for the summit. And I know today is like something you both really feel passionate about. So I can't wait to get into this talk. But before we start, and I know people have already heard you in other talks, but it would be nice just to have a little recap of who you are, what you do for those who haven't met you yet. So if we can start with Natalie, that side. It's always opposite.
Okay. Hi. So I am a therapist. I work holistically, which means that I deal with body, mind, and soul. So I look at the person as an entire being. And for that reason, I work with different modalities such as hypnotherapy and breathwork therapy, and also, of course, regular talk therapy. And and I'm just really pleased and honored to be part of the Conscious Parenting Association. So thanks
Natalie. And it's so lovely to have you with us. And Megs, if you can tell us a bit about yourself.
So I have a background in psychology and in education, but at the moment I am a parent coach and a family coach, and I'm just super passionate about journeying with families to create a family that really works for them. I don't believe there's a one size fits all. And I think every family has very different dynamics, and I just love journeying with families to create a calm, happy space within their homes that really works for them as a family and resonates with them.
Yeah, thanks, Megs. And it's so lovely having you both here today. I'm so excited. I keep saying it, but I love this talk. I myself didn't fully understand self-care, and maybe even until like the pandemic hit, and I realized I needed to take my well-being in seriously. I needed to put like Jess was saying, put my mask on first so that the rest of my family could cope as well. I found it's actually been life-changing as well, just to be more conscious of my own self-care. But we'll hear more about that as we go. I don't want to give away too much of what we're going to talk about, and then the questions are like, oh, we've spoken about this. Okay, so first I want to ask Natalie, what do you find are the biggest challenges parents are having, just in general over the last year, let's say?
Well, it's obviously like a very multi-layered thing. I mean, with the pandemic, they're having to deal with so many extra things. There's the social distancing, there's, adjusting to working from home, there's, online schooling, and there's just so many balls being juggled by parents at the moment, and it's having a negative effect, I believe, on their mental health and on the mental health of their of their families. And so we're having parents who are, because they're juggling so many balls, they're unable, they don't feel like they're doing one thing properly. I have so many families saying, well, I'm not being a good mom right now. I'm not being a good employee. I'm not doing anything right. And it's also affecting their children because of the state of overwhelm. They're overreacting. They don't find that they're dealing with stress as well as they used to. And it's contributing also now to their guilt. So they're feeling guilty about not doing anything right. And when you're coming from that place as a caregiver, it affects the rest of your family too. So your vibe affects your tribe. It's literally a domino effect. So there's a lot happening at the moment.
Yeah, and I feel like, as you were saying, that it's so true. Like the way we feel really does domino out to our children, and often, like you were saying, we feel guilty then because we're not maybe doing self-care or whatever. But I've always said to the parents I work with as well, is that guilt is not a motivator for change. We don't sit there feeling guilty and go, I'm so guilty, I'm going to change. Guilt is sort of that feeling of, I'm going to sit here and do nothing. And it's finding ways to get yourself out of that guilt in order to move forward. That's how I think of it anyway.
Absolutely.
Which actually leads straight on to Megs. I wanted to ask you, Megs, because we do live in a world where it's like go fast and do things properly and be perfect and Instagram perfection, and you know the whole thing of like success being hard work. Like it's that very, I don't know, that patriarchal feeling of we've got to always be doing. So I wanted to ask you, how can we talk about self-care in terms of helping parents feel more empowered, and feeling more ready to practice self-care?
Yeah, so, the first thing I just really want to say, just listening to what Nats was saying about, this overriding feeling of guilt and I'm not good enough and I'm not doing anything well enough, is the last thing that we want with this talk even is for you guys to leave here feeling like, oh no, this is another thing that I'm failing at or another thing that I have to do. Okay, that's not what this is about. But what we really do want you to do is we really want you to somehow come to the realization, and hopefully just by listening to us today, we can plant seeds for you, that self-care for a mother or for a parent, for any parent, is not selfish. Putting yourself first is not selfish. It's a necessity, guys. You have to. An unhappy mom is an unhappy family. Like Natalie just said, your vibe affects your tribe. And a well mom, a taken care of mom, or a taken care of parent, even when you're looking at dads, means happy kids. A well mom means a patient mom. A well mom means a fun mom, means an organized mom, means a mom with much more capacity. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're immediately impatient. You probably dropping balls. You are just not the mom that you can be. And so that's really the first thing you need to realize, is that self-care is not selfish. It's a necessity for a family. And also it's not a whole lot of boxes to tick. So it's not like, okay, now I need to go for a manicure and a massage and make sure I've drank enough water and make sure, tick. It needs to become sort of internalized and just part of who you are. And I think that's when we start looking at what self-care really is. Because yes, we all think of manis and pedis and girls' weekends away. I mean, that's lovely. If you can do all of that stuff, go for it, because that is all really good for you. But I think we need to start looking a little bit deeper and just actually realizing that to really start taking care of ourselves, we need to start looking at the pressure points in our lives and what is really not working and what is creating stress, what is draining you, what is taking out of that cup, your emotional cup. What is taking out of there, and then you need to start making difficult decisions, putting boundaries in place, and really just figuring out for yourself what it is that's draining you and what it would mean to make the changes. And like Claire said in the beginning, we're not in control of everything, but there are certain things that we are in control of, and those are the things where we need to put in boundaries and make decisions that aren't always easy, but are for the better. And I mean, for my self-care journey, I had like this moment about 3 years ago where I kind of just decided, like, actually, this is not what I want. This was not the plan for my life. It's like chaotic, things were just completely spinning out of control. And I realized that this is not actually what I wanted. And I made a decision in that moment that I was going to change it. And I wasn't going to have another year that's the same. And I had to put really tough boundaries in place and make some really tough decisions to get to where I am now, in terms of having a more manageable life that I can actually enjoy with my children, So it's a journey, and it's a different journey for everybody, but it's a mindful, conscious journey that you need to work on,
Yeah, and I think as you were saying that, I'm actually just reading Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. It's like such an old book, but it's still so relevant. And when you said that, like, you made that decision in that moment, I love how he says, like, when the pain becomes so much that we have no other choice but to change, that's when we actually make those changes. But we almost shouldn't have to wait for it to be that way. Like, that's what this talk is about today. Like today could be that day for people. And another thing I was also going to add, a big light bulb moment for me when I decided that change was to sit and ask myself, Claire, what do you need? And literally listening for the answer, instead of, like you said, ticking those boxes. Oh, I must make sure I drink water. And then I felt guilty. Oh, I haven't fitted this in. If I just said to myself, what do I actually need? Sometimes it was to sit and do nothing and sit on the grass outside. And I started doing that for 5-10 minutes. It literally changed my life. It's simple, but profound for me. Well, for me anyway. Yeah. Megs, I know you also had a nice infographic to show us. Maybe you want to discuss that with us a bit as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So it's basically just what I said. I mean, if you look at the top half of the iceberg, it really just, it shows all the things that we kind of put on that to-do list that we can tick off. I went to my yoga class, I did my exercise, I drank my water. But like you said, Claire, it often does become something that you then actually feel like you're failing at because you didn't put it in. And often for a lot of people, I've been in the education industry for a while, and for teachers, for example, it's really, and for a lot of people, not only teachers, I'm just using it as an example, sometimes it's impossible to fit in a yoga class. If you're working and you're parenting, you literally sometimes don't have the 45 minutes in a day that you've got to, if it's online or even if it's in person, like you just don't have it and you can't create it. And so then, like you said, just asking yourself, what do I need, is massive. And then moving down to the bottom of the iceberg, it's really just, starting to look at that deeper level of yourself and your mindset and changes that you might need to make, and starting to unpack your past hurts and all of that kind of thing, which really, creates a cycle of healing. And then it's so important to remember that the more we heal ourselves, because, unfortunately, and it's not to say that anybody's parents didn't do well. I think all parents, including ourselves, do the best that we can with what we have. But we all come with baggage, and the more we manage to unpack that and heal it, the better it is for our children, and the more healed they'll become as well, because we all live in these cycles.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
And I love that infographic. We're actually going to be sending it to everybody after the talk, because it's simple, but it's also, it's something where you look at it and you just, I don't know, something clicks for people sometimes where they're like, like there's a lot of hard work at the bottom there. But it's so important to do that hard work in order to see the results and feel like we are taking care of ourselves. But then I wanted to ask Natalie, so we've been saying, like, we can't fit in a yoga class, we can't fit in this, we can't fit in that. And often we do put moms, dads, we put everyone before ourselves. And then we're like, at least the kids are happy, at least the dogs are happy, at least Granny's happy, at least Auntie Susan's happy. What about me? So how can we literally, genuinely, not just talk about it, but actually prioritize ourselves? How can we do that?
Yeah, well, it's all about just finding what works for you as a person, as an individual. And like you said, yoga, maybe you can't fit it in, but it's also not for everybody. Not everybody enjoys yoga. Not everybody enjoys mindfulness or meditation. So, finding maybe a therapist that works for you, or trying out breath work, or journaling. The other thing is that it also doesn't have to cost anything. Journaling is something that you can do for free. Breathwork is something that once you learn how to do it, you have breath within your body. You can go home and you can practice the breathwork on your own. And that's something so valuable, because you also pass that on to your children eventually. It's about scheduling time maybe in your day or in your week where you say, this is my appointment for me, and you treat it like a very important priority, like you would treat an appointment with your neurologist or with your gynecologist or whatever the case is. Make it a priority so that you actually have that time for yourself. And I can give you a few tips that perhaps I can offer a breathwork suggestion. So everybody has 1 minute in their day, right? You may not have 10 minutes in your day. I know that parents are very busy, caregivers are very busy, but you all have 1 minute. And if you find yourself overwhelmed or you're struggling in that day, step away for 1 minute and just pay attention to your breath. Take a deep inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and just breathe that way mindfully for a minute. And you will see how that affects you, how much that changes the chemistry in your brain, because you are literally going from that fight or flight mode to a rest and digest mode. And that in itself is self-care, because you're learning to calm down, you're learning to regulate yourself. And again, that is something that then you can pass down to your children when they watch you. They are learning to do the same thing for themselves. Because remember, when you are stressed, they're watching you as well. And I'm not saying this to add to your stress. I'm saying this to add to your consciousness, to your mindfulness. It's all about becoming more conscious of how you're living. And like Meg said, like being conscious of your triggers and your boundaries, and really putting those into place and prioritizing that for yourself. Yeah.
Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, and it's something like, again, it's oh, sorry, there's a bit of a feedback sound there. I'm not sure if it's me. Like you say, it's making that decision to prioritize it and becoming conscious of it, like not feeling the guilt as hard as it is to not feel guilty. But I also wanted to mention, when you were talking about journaling, I'm such an advocate for self-healing. Like often, and this was something I think is so important for parents to hear, you don't always need to go and see someone to help you with these things. Maybe you do, maybe you need that help, but you could read a book about self-healing. I mean, you could read ways or look at videos on how to journal. I found journaling is my daily therapy. I do free journaling where I just sit and I write what's in my head, like I'm talking to somebody. And in that way, I solve a lot of my own problems. And that's also part of my own self-care. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that as well. I think it's so important. I wanted to ask Megs as well, because we are a conscious parenting association, how do you think conscious parenting actually links with self-care? Like, how can we think of those as what's the word, mutually, I don't know what the word is, working together?
So I just wanted to say, just to speak to what Nat was saying, but now it's gone out of his head.
Oh, shame. Sorry, I've asked you something else, that's why.
No, it's fine. So at the end of the day, the conscious parenting is about being more mindful, and being more mindful of your home, and the way that you act and react is often a huge first step in a conscious parenting journey. I mean, and realizing your triggers and how your children actually trigger you is really important. And I think that the more we bring conscious, and I mean, just listening to Natalie talk about that breath work, I mean, I'm going to start doing that today with my children for 1 minute, because children love, they love being with us. They love doing new things with us. They love new, exciting games and challenges. And all you have to do is put a timer out and be like, look, we're doing this breathing for 1 minute, and they will love it. And imagine the difference, like Nat said, that it's actually going to make to the whole vibe in your home. So, just doing small things like that relates both to self-care and to conscious parenting. But at the end of the day, if you haven't taken care of yourself, you're actually not going to be able to parent in any really effective way, because in order to even embark on conscious parenting, you need to be mindful of yourself, and you need to be in a good headspace. And if you're not in a good headspace, because we're all human and we can't all be happy and calm all the time, you need to be able to see that and then take a step back in those moments, and sort of take a pause moment in your interaction with your kids, and come back when you're in a better space. So I think it really is all so interlinked in just becoming aware of yourself and where you're at, and how you can fill that your own emotional cup. And I also just so loved what Nat said about finding what works for you. And I loved also what you said, Claire, about sitting on the grass for 10 minutes, but what you took out of it for yourself is the guilt. Yeah. So, like I find, if I'm going to do something for myself, I actually have to have a bit of a chat with myself before. I have to say, like, this is what you're doing, and you're doing it for yourself, and you're doing it by yourself. And while you're doing it, you're not going to feel guilty or rushed. You're going to just be relaxed and enjoy it. And I have to like pep talk myself. And then I go and I do it and I have an amazing, and it's actually genuinely relaxing. Even if it is sitting on the grass for 10 minutes, I've prepped my mind that this is for me, that it's okay. And that I don't feel guilty about it, because all of it is just so interlinked.
Yeah. And I feel, even as you said that, when I feel myself feeling guilty, I'm also learning from my conscious parenting to validate myself, because I got so used to validating my children. Now I can say, Claire, you feel guilty and that's okay. What are we going to do about it? Like, let's make ourselves conscious. Sorry, Natalie, you wanted to add something there.
Yes. So I just want to liken it to sort of tuning on a radio. When you're turning that dial and you're looking for a specific radio station, consciousness is looking for that tuning into yourself. It's tuning into what you're feeling, what's going on really for you. And in doing so, you can more easily tune into what's happening for the people around you, like your family. So it's removing that static, that and getting that clear, so that you can do things from a very, very calm, regulated state. That's what I would liken it to.
I love that, because it's also in my mind, as you were saying that, I'm like, it's removing the noise. It's removing what does everybody else think I should do? What does everybody else want me to do? What is expected of me? And I think that's also such a problem in parenting. We're so busy looking at what everybody else wants. Sometimes we forget, what do we want? There's a little comment here. Oh, sorry, my throat. Let me have a drink. Have instituted a rest hour when at home 24/7 with kids.
Wonderful.
But find myself overthinking during this time. I'd love tips to learn to refocus or reboot during this hour. Who'd like to take that one?
I think it would be great to try some journaling. I think a lot of people struggle with the journaling because they don't know what to say. You could do the free journaling, like Claire said, but online you can find a lot of journal prompts on Pinterest and those type of things. Those are fantastic things to do. And just from doing that, you'll be amazed at what you become aware of, what pops up for you. And then again, try some breath work just to end it off. Put on a song, put on a nice relaxing song, and do some mindful breathing where you just pay attention to your breath coming into your nose and out through your nose, and do that for the entire duration of the song. And I promise you, the effect that has on your body, on your state of mind, you will not believe how transformative that is. It's really, really helpful.
Yeah, and so simple. I want to also hand over to Megs and ask her, but before we do that, I wanted to also mention that Natalie's actually offering a prize today in that exact thing, in her breathwork, and it was breathwork and a 1 hour consultation.
Yes.
Is that right, Natalie?
Yes, that's right.
And I mean, for somebody at home watching, if this is something you think you need, tell us in the comments, because we really wanted to go to somebody who will benefit from it and will use it. So just tell us in the comments if you feel this can be useful to you. I know Jess does have the thing to bring up so we can see it, but I don't know if I've said it too soon, because she's got to do her tech thing and bring. So while she's doing that, Megs, do you want to add to what we were saying? So about the question of the overactive thoughts and everything during that time.
Yeah, I just think you've done such an amazing thing by putting that into place in your home in the first place, for your family. I think it's just so important. And it's so important that our children also learn to just have downtime, because like Claire said earlier, it's always do, go. And so well done for implementing that in your home. And I think that you need to just take a moment and allow yourself that space to just be. And if there are things that you need to think about, that's also okay. Don't be hard on yourself that, oh no, now I'm meant to be being doing whatever and I'm not. Just be. And if you do some breath work, do some journaling, and then give yourself, even if it's 10 minutes, to just be. And if that means thinking things through, if it means unpacking yesterday in your brain, if it means unpacking your toddler's tantrum, go ahead. Just be. Just allow yourself that time. You're doing an amazing thing as a mom by gifting your family this time in your home, this peaceful time, and teaching your children a life skill of being able to also just have downtime. So just give yourself also the gift of just being. Don't worry about what you're doing or not doing, or just be.
And I think it comes back to what I've also been trying to do that I mentioned just now. So if I'm doing meditation and I'm overthinking things and I'm thinking about the summit and the interviews and the questions, I think to myself, I'll literally say to myself in my head, I'm thinking a lot, and that's okay. I'm thinking of other things, and that's okay. And usually that helps it just to float away. And if it doesn't, I tell myself, that's okay. I think we're so hard on ourselves. We need to tell ourselves, that's okay. You're feeling guilty. That's okay. You're overthinking. That's okay. Oh, here's the prize coming up. So yeah, this is such an amazing prize. A 1 hour holistic therapy consultation plus a 1 hour, one complimentary breathwork session. I mean, and a lot of people don't know what breathwork is, but Natalie's explained a little bit already. Here we go. Maybe we can do it for the association. All of us need it as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I'm just joking. I'm putting you on the spot. But Natalie, maybe you've already mentioned it a bit, but can you explain breathwork a little bit more for those who've maybe never heard of it? Because it is fairly new, even though breathing has been around since the beginning of time.
Yes. So breath is literally the first thing you do when you're born and the last thing you do when you die, isn't it? And it literally takes you through your entire life. But what's so fascinating about it is that in your nervous system, it is the one thing that is both automatic and can be controlled. So what that means is that it can help you regulate, and it hacks your vagus nerve. For those of you who don't know what your vagus nerve, it is the nerve that connects from your brain into all the major organs of your body. So it is literally the link from your mind to your body, your mind-body connection. And when you breathe, you're stimulating that vagus nerve so that you can calm down. When you breathe, you are moving from a state of fight or flight. For example, when you're having those moments where you are overwhelmed with all the children screaming and you've got deadlines to meet for work, your breath can help you come back to a place of calm just by breathing for a bit, because it takes you out of that fight and flight moment, that fight and flight state, and it helps you come back to a rest and digest mode. And when you're in that rest and digest mode, the prefrontal cortex is switched back on, so you can think clearly. You can do things now from a place of consciousness, and it's just, for me, it's just really amazing. I've implemented it into my own life, and that's what inspired me to want to share it with others and with my clients, because I've just found it so transformative. And it's so simple and it's free, guys. You have your breath with you all the time. So breath, and if you think about, imagine you're holding a lemon in your hand and you're squeezing it and you're squeezing it. Your body becomes tense, and what else happens? You stop breathing. When you're tense, you stop breathing. When you learn to breathe through the tension, you can actually, you function better. It's a science. It's not a woo-woo thing. Like, a lot of people can't connect to meditation because they find it too airy-fairy or too woo-woo. A lot of people love it. I myself love meditation, but I know that there's limitations sometimes to it, where breath work is a lot more accessible, and it's accessible to your children too. There's just so much to learn about it, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Sure. Even as you're mentioning it, it literally links with all the talks we've done, because we spoke about toddlers and how their prefrontal cortex goes offline when they're having a tantrum.
Absolutely.
And if we flip our lid, then our prefrontal cortex is going offline, and it all links. And the teenagers, how their prefrontal cortex isn't even developed, but we expect it to be.
Yeah.
But how
and when
we
you
can teach them these skills.
Exactly. And when you think of co-regulation, you need to learn to calm down so that you can teach your child to calm down. You cannot, as an adult, be dysregulated and try and regulate your child. You need to regulate yourself first so that they can then learn how to do it. In English, in simple English, you can't be up here in a very tense state and expect to calm your child. You have to be calm so that they can meet you halfway. And breathwork is a fantastic and easy way to do that.
Yeah. Thanks, Natalie. And Megs, do you have anything to add to to what we're saying, or anything that's popped into your head that you want to
I
add?
think it just links back to conscious parenting and to self-care. And if you are taking care of yourself and filling your cup, you'll be in that space where you can calm your kids and your home down.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly it. And I think the one thing I wanted to add before we move on to the end is that something that's worked for me a lot, and also the journaling, and I don't know how you guys feel, is by doing conscious parenting, it's actually allowed me to see where the starting point is of my stress. So I've started to be aware of, this happened, then I thought this, then I felt this, and then I did this. So in conscious parenting, I teach my parents to watch out for that. What do you think your child is thinking, then feeling, and then deciding? And now what are you thinking, then feeling, then deciding? And that's also been like such a game changer for me. Okay. I don't know if anyone at home has any other questions they want to add. So to end off with, we are going to be giving this prize away, the Sorbet 1,000 Rand voucher. So Jess is going to tell us just now once she's figured out who it is. Jess, come on in and tell us what you think.
I couldn't find my
you want
hat.
to add?
I actually do. One thing that I want to add is that I want everyone to realize that this is not easy. We talk about these things as if, it's like breath work and it's good. And I love breath work.
Absolutely.
And I was very big into meditation for a while. And then when I had something very traumatic happen, I couldn't meditate anymore. I couldn't. And I couldn't do breath work, and I couldn't be mindful. Because every single thing in my brain was telling me, this is a state of alarm. You can't regulate yourself. Now, what are you talking about? You're in fight or flight. And that is the part of your brain that is responsible for your survival. It's the deepest part of your brain. It's the thing that's going to tell you, that there's an emergency. So you can't think yourself out of that state in a minute. It takes practice. These are tools that take a lot of practice. And so if you're like, okay, I'm going to do it now, I'm going to be mindful and I'm going to meditate, and you're like, this is not working, I'm panicking, that's also normal for the beginning.
Absolutely.
And it's really important sometimes to get someone, like Natalie, like Megs, like Claire, to talk you through these things and help you. And to, like you were saying earlier, be kind to yourself. And if you're having lots of thoughts, that's okay. That's part of the process. You're not doing it wrong. It's where you are. It's you have to accept where you are in this journey, and it comes and it goes depending on the day, depending on the period of life that you're in. No one expected a pandemic last year. Everyone was completely thrown for a loop, and no one knew how to handle it. And it was kind of quite cool because it was a collective. Okay, we're all in this together. We're all panicking. We're all in the same kind of ocean of many, many different boats. But in your own life, one thing is not more traumatic than something else. If one person has, the milk, it's always the small things, the milk, you come home with your groceries, milk comes out of the bag and it falls on the floor and you're like, this is the last straw. I'm done. And it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a huge traumatic event. It can just be lots of little things that add to your stress. And it's okay. It's okay to know that you're not going to be sitting and being on a peaceful meditation rock right now. You can get there. This is a long process. It's not an overnight thing. But those little 1 minutes, like Natalie was saying, 1 minute a day can have a huge knock-on effect for the way that you process the rest of the week. So take some time, do it.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
And so without further ado, here's my box.
Ooh.
Here's my box. I don't have my hat. So some of the names of people who've asked to win, and I'm not going to look, and I'm going to shuffle and shuffle and shuffle because I know you all want this, so I have to be random.
I want it.
Okay. Susan Brink.
Susan Brink. Hey,
Susan Brink, you won the sorbet.
Yay,
so we're going
exciting.
to, in fact, Susan Brink, should we do a draw? Are we doing a draw for Natalie's, but Natalie's got two, so we're going to do this.
Your 2-1.
It's
two vouchers. Yeah,
two vouchers for 2 people. Well, we've got more people, so shall I draw them now?
Let's
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 vouchers, one for Natalie. It said Linda Thomas. I think I spelled Linda wrong. That's how my mother-in-law spells Linda, but yours is with an I. I apologize. So that's one for Natalie, and then
Which one?
Yeah, which one? Let's choose quickly. Which one, Natalie? What was first?
The holistic.
Okay.
Yeah, the holistic.
Okay.
The holistic
the breath
counseling.
work.
Sorry.
So
yeah.
Luke Linda Thomas wins that one, and then I haven't even checked this one. Lurika Buys.
Phase.
I
Yeah.
can't read it.
Days.
Hey, yay!
It's on my other computer where I see the thing. Yay, well done, everyone.
Yay, we've got
There
two
we go.
winners. That's exciting.
Nice,
Wow,
nice.
that's a fun way to end off. Prizes. Okay, but before we go, this is the part I always forget. Please tell us how people can get a hold of you and what you offer. You've already told us, but tell us again so people know. So we'll start with, who do you have first, Jess, on the screen thing?
Let's
Doesn't
start
matter.
with Megs.
Okay, Megs, go for it.
So you can get hold of me on my website, which is www.bereal.coach, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Be Real with Megs. And then I've got a really cool workshop coming up in June, which the details will go live soon, which also just has the thread of wellness running through it, where we're going to be talking to myself. I'm going to be talking about wellness. I'm going to be talking about conscious parenting. I'm going to have somebody, a colleague and friend of mine, doing breath work. And I'm going to have another lady doing movement and why it's important with your kids. And we're going to do also just some fun stuff like how to dress nicely on the run as a mom. So that's going to be happening in June. Otherwise just contact me for one-on-one coaching or family planning sessions. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, Megs. That sounds amazing. I want to come. That's awesome. And Natalie, on your side?
Okay, so you can get hold of me on my website, www.playtoheal.co.za. All my social media is all on my website, so you can follow me on there as well. I do have workshops coming up, so have a look on my site. Keep looking. I haven't posted anything yet, but keep following me and you'll see what's coming. And and you can contact me for some play therapy for your kids or holistic therapy for yourself, breathwork sessions, as well as hypnotherapy.
Thank you. Wow. And I mean, those of you at home, as I was saying in the beginning, you can see it now. The people that, like, by some fate have all come together are just, everybody's got so much to offer. And I'm just actually amazed sitting here listening to you guys. It's like, how did we all come together to do this and all have so much to offer? I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the parents who are going to get to work with you as well. And to add to it, at the end, Jess and I have recently collaborated our positive discipline workshops, which we were both doing separately, and we will now be doing together. So that's another really exciting thing happening for us. And lastly, just to let you know, as I was saying, with self-care is so big for me, I'm also running the Break Free Sisterhood, which is something that if you feel called to join, it's something that I'm really passionate about and really enjoy. So, and Jess, do you want to add anything on your side so people know what you do if they haven't seen your talk?
Just that, all of these services will be available on the CPASA website as well. So we'll have a page. Once the summit is finished, we'll have a page where you can link to everybody, and all the workshops and everything will be available. So, for example, Claire and I are starting our workshop on the 1st of May. And, if that fills up, it's such a great opportunity to then go, okay, well, Megs is having a workshop, go to this one. And so we can actually help each other so that you've got somewhere to find. So you're never going to not find the support you need. There's always going to be someone there waiting for you. So if one person's workshop is full, there'll be someone else waiting for you. And so, I just kind of would invite everyone to, get involved. And if you need anything, then you can email us. I've got the email addresses right there. You can email us at admin@cpasa.org.za. And even if you think it's a stupid question, it's not. We probably have someone who can help you. So
That's true.
So that's what we're here for. We're here to help, and we just want to bring our message to everyone. So if you think that this has been a helpful talk as well, share us, tell your friends about us, because we just really want to get this message to as many people as we can.
Yeah, share it now on Facebook if you can. You can click the bottom share and it goes to your page and then more people see it. So that's all we're trying to do. So to end off, thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Megs. I've had such an amazing time this morning. It's been so fun. And thanks, Jess, for your behind the scenes tech work. It's always so professional and so wonderful. So
thanks, you're too kind.
And thanks everyone at home for watching. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.